give me just a moment. Okay, and then basically you all are going to be doing the same exact thing that I'm doing. You can open up both of those TIFF files, open up both of them, just like I have mine. I have my designer open, and then I have my Automizer, mockup Automizer open. So designer and mockup. Okay, just open those two files, and there will be some issues. You will need to relink them. But what we're going to do is people that are familiar with the Automizer will, basically, I want to make sure that we're all on one page because it works a little bit different than how it worked before. Okay. And if you have the red question mark, Morticia, then I will help you with that too. I'm sure we're going to have some people with that issue. Okay. All right. So now that I have my foreground open, I'm going to go to File and Export. Quick export as PNG. That is my foreground. I think I already did this because it's in here. But if I go to save my foreground, let me view it so I can show y'all. If let's say I made some changes, let's say I moved the crown or maybe I moved the heart or something, I want to replace it because when I go save, yes, I want to replace it because I don't want so many versions of the foreground out there that I don't know which one was my final version. So as you make your iterations, as you make your changes, you always have this editable version. That's the TIFF version. It's always editable. The PNG is the one that's flat and smaller. Okay. So now I have my PNG of the foreground and my PNG of the background, and I am good to go. I'm going to close out of the designer. Well, before I close out of the designer, let me explain something else for y'all. The reason why I put these other sizes here is because sometimes foreground and background will not just easily work. For the 13 by 19, foreground and background perfectly work, right? Even for some of your square stuff, let's say you're doing buttons or plates or that sort of thing, your 13 by 19 image can still work with that, right? So anywhere that you can use your foreground and background as is going to be that's the sweet spot. When you can't use the foreground and background, for instance, you using the stole, maybe you need to break down some of the components. That's what this board is for. Take the components from this board and build whatever you need for those specific instances. However, you want to make this easy money. You don't want to make it difficult. So I want you to get in the habit of understanding that maybe this landscape one here requires something different. Maybe this landscape one here definitely requires something different. Okay, and then you can pick from your board here. Uh-oh, did not mean to do that. I was trying to move it. Hold down Alt, and I'm just Alt clicking and dragging it. Okay. So when I Alt click and drag, I can build an alternative version of my design without having to rebuild a whole nother design. Okay. So let's say for this one, for instance, maybe that's going to be all I put there, but I want some of my accents on here. I can make that happen. And now this design is giving me an idea of what I want to do for my banner. I'll talk to y'all later about like when you do this different stuff. We're not working on that today. When we get into our actual Automizer class, I'm going to explain to you that this is not the final banner. Okay, this is to give you an idea of what kind of layout you want for your final banner so that you can update it and create your final banner. Okay, so your final banner is probably not going to be a 24 by 48. Your final banner will probably be a 2 foot by 6 foot or a 3 foot by 6 foot, which means that if you design it at this level and you try to blow it up, you may have some pixelation occurring. So I'm just giving you some ideas of why I have these down there. We are not messing with those today. Everything that we're doing, we'll be able to do foreground and background because the whole idea is that you get a quick mock-up to your client and you get a quick yes on things they didn't even know they wanted. Okay. So y'all don't even worry about that stuff down there. The whole point is that we maximize our dollar. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of this now. I saved my foreground and my background. I might come back to this later to grab some pieces that we may turn into props. Okay. And we'll talk about that as we're inside of the class. All right, so let's say I want to go ahead and change this backdrop here. The backdrop is the biggest one to change. So let me change the t-shirt here first. The Oliver shirt is still a big file. The backdrop files are huge because they are 8 foot by 10 foot at 150 DPI. Okay, so I want you to know that you'll get to test your computer out today. What I want to do here, I see that exclamation point. I'm going to update all modified content. Okay, and then I'm going to open it up. And when I open it up here, I'm going to update all modified content. Okay, and then I'm going to open up my foreground, because remember, my foreground and background are different now. Okay, now my foreground here is just a PNG, not like it was before where it was all editable. My foreground here, I have to replace this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my folder. Remember, we created in our downloads folder, we created a customer file, which is the template number, the order number, and the customer's name. Okay, so let me go to view, large icons here. And I'm going to replace this one. Okay. Now, someone asked earlier, you can delete the old layer, or you can, if you had the eyeball turned off, you can merge it down. If you, let's say you put some more stuff on here, let's say you added some paint splashes and some other stuff, and it's like, dang, it can't be a PNG anymore because it has multiple layers. You're going to have to merge that. That's why I tell you to design on your designer files, design on your TIFF files, design where you have all of those layers. When we get ready to mock up and when we get ready, these are your printable files. Okay. I don't know if y'all know this, but you will be able to actually print this foreground file, and it will be 13 by 19 exactly. So our printable files, we want to keep PNG, and then our edit and our design files, we're going to keep those as the layered TIFF files. Okay. So I'm just letting y'all know that if you're in the PNG file, then that is your printable file. Now that I have replaced that, I got rid of it. If I select the X here, I can just hit yes to save. If you're hitting yes to save and it's asking you to save it somewhere else, then that means it's not a PNG because you have too many layers there, and it's going to either try to save it as a Photoshop file or something that can save layers. So this is now a built-in indication that your files are going to be too big if you don't have it at the PNG phase. Okay, so I did this so that of course, the Automizer can work faster, and then also so that you all don't get hung up on your computers because you keep adding layers and layers and layers where it doesn't need to be layers, okay? So that foreground has just been updated. Keep in mind, this is for an all-over shirt, so it may take a little time. The background, same thing here. It's a PNG. So I'm going to go to the background that we just saved, drag and drop it, hit enter, and then I'm going to just delete the layer below it. When I go to save this and I say yes, it's going to recognize it only has one layer, so it's going to let it save as a PNG. If I had 2 layers on there, maybe I'll show y'all that. If you have 2 layers on there, it won't let you save it as a PNG. All right. And I'm almost through the demonstration, y'all. I just wanted y'all to see what we're doing and why we're doing this, why we're working through it, because what happens, and this is what happens in our teaching classes. When we are so engulfed in actually getting something done, like getting the work done and going through everybody, getting through the work, we're not paying attention to how this makes business sense. Okay. And I want us to walk through this first part just so that we understand how this makes business sense. And then the bonus is that we're getting into the Automizer. The bonus is that we're going to design something or flip a design today. It's not the point of you all being here. Okay. So we'll get through the Automizer part. We'll get through the design part. And I'm 1000% positive that all the stuff that I'm talking about here, Kim is going to be able to back it up 1,000% with showing you how she does this in the party planning realm, in the event planning realm, and where she started out with and all that good stuff. So everything that I'm telling you all is exactly where we all have gotten hung up at some point in time. Charging too little, not knowing our value, not knowing our worth, not working our full potential to a potential client, and then doing 10 times the work when we could have done the same exact thing for one customer that we did for 10 customers and get the same profit and results. So let me see here. This one is hanging up on me. It should be almost done updating here. And let me cut off some of these things, y'all. Let's see. I think I have to shut down some of the stuff that is hanging up on my computer right now. So I'm actually quitting my Discord. Google Chrome takes up a lot too. And my Slack, because they actually run in the background and take up data as well. All right, so let's see where we are with this. Should be updating my background. And this is where it hung up last time. So I am going to let it, no, I'm not. I'm going to actually, I'm going to close this down. Give me just a moment. I normally turn off my Creative Cloud while I'm doing this. That's what it is. Okay, so let me give y'all a hint. Unless you're doing AI, which requires Creative Cloud, it does this every time. Creative Cloud is a part of Photoshop that likes to access your internet while you're working on Photoshop. And if you're doing anything with large files, it is a great hindrance. Right now, it's even taking a long time for Creative Cloud to pull up. But this is what I do. Once I actually log on to my Photoshop, and it looks like everything's up to date. As long as I have the up-to-date Photoshop, I go up here, go to File, and I go to Quit Creative Cloud. You only need Creative Cloud when you're working. Let's say you're doing your generative fill and the AI, which is on the beta version of Photoshop. You do need to keep Creative Cloud, I think, open in order for it to function. But other than that, y'all shut it off. I see here that it was taking up almost 20% of my memory for Creative Cloud, and I'm not even accessing the cloud. So let's go ahead and do that together. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and shut Photoshop down completely. And well, let me show y'all what to do before you do that. So before you shut it down, close out your Creative Cloud, and then you want to go to Preferences, and then go to General here. And then what I'm going to do is reset my preferences on Quit. What that's going to do is going to clear the like, you know how you have a cache for your internet browser and it starts saving things like every website you ever visited and all your preferences. If you reset the preferences, it's almost like giving Photoshop a clean slate. So I'm going to say okay and yes here. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my performance, and most of you probably have it to where your performance is only like 70. That's usually the default. I like to crank mine up to around 90%. Okay. And then that way, if Photoshop gets stuck, it can, when Photoshop is saving, it expands in order to save, and then it comes back to its regular size. So if it doesn't have any space to expand, what it'll tell you is the scratch disk is full, or it'll tell you something like it can't save, or it'll tell you nothing and it will just crash. Okay. So I'm doing that right now. Okay. And now it wants to update. Y'all see, once I started snitching on it, what it did, it just updated. So what I'm going to do is, regardless, it did finally push through, but because I know that Creative Cloud was linked to my Photoshop when I started, and I saw how it was lagging, I'm doing this even for my system, y'all. So I'm closing things down here now. Yes to save, but you do notice that it changed the shirt, or maybe it didn't because it's lagging. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and save here. Oh, it didn't update all my modified content. Let me update all modified content. I was just going to close out of it and redo it, which I may do that anyhow. Yeah, because it didn't save what I wanted it to. So let me close out. I'm going to actually close out of Photoshop completely. And then when I open Photoshop back up, Creative Cloud, if I notice here, like in my what's running in the background, Creative Cloud is not running in the background anymore. And you can't do that in depth. Like, you can't just shut down Creative Cloud for longer than 30 days, because Photoshop does need to access the internet every 30 days just to make sure that you have an account. And see, now everything is fresh and new. And what I'm going to do is go to my files here, and I'm just going to open this one right now. All right. So now let's see if I can go into shirt. Oh, you know what? Don't show again. I need to change my setup. So I'm going to go back up to my workspace and put it on Dr. Shannon. Come over here, because I like to see my bigger icons. All right, so I'm going to go to panel options, bigger here, turn off these, because whenever you reset, it's going to reset your preferences as well. I'll click on layer bound so I can see what's actually in my layers now. See how that makes it so much easier to see? All right, and then I'll also like to make sure I come over here, edit my toolbar. There we go. And then I just restored the defaults, because I like for my tools to have the proper drop downs here. And then I'm actually going to make sure I save this workspace. I save it as the same thing from before, Dr. Shannon. And then you have to make sure that you check these off too. Otherwise, it will forget to do your toolbars and your menus. Say yes to save. And now my workspace is saved. And you all should already have this workspace saved. Okay. All right. Now, let's see. I'm going to update all modified content and see if my flow is going a little bit faster now. All right, let's go into it. I'm going to change out the background first. This will let me know if my system is going faster. I see the exclamations. I'm going to update all modified content. Go into it. And like I said, here's where the PNG should be. So there's my customer's order, PNG drops there. Delete the layer below. Now let's see if it gets hung up. Remember at first it was getting hung up at 94%. So we're going to see if that changes things. All right. Oh, Yolanda, yes, it is showing out in front of company. That's what it likes to do. But you notice how now it's going faster. So I think because I've been working on a lot of big files and stuff, so my the memory of Photoshop was pretty much packed. So now you see even I have issues. I think my laptop is 32 gigs of RAM and I think 2 terabytes of hard drive, but it still lags and gets caught up, y'all. So I'm just letting y'all know that it's not just you. It is our systems, and sometimes what we have to do is figure out these ways to continue to use the best systems. All right, so turn off your Creative Cloud, and we'll know that for next time. Matter of fact, we should start doing that every time we do a class. So turn off the Creative Cloud. That's one thing. The other thing I want you to do, or turn it off by exiting. Don't just close, because if you just close out of it, it's still in the background. I promise you that. If you go to your start menu, these are your startup, not start menu. These are your startup softwares here. These softwares are always running in the background, even when you don't know it. So you can click on the cloud from there and go to the file and exit. It'll close out the cloud completely. Then I want you to come up here, go to edit, preferences, go to general, tell it that you want to reset the preferences on quit. Then I want you to come over to performance and change this from 70. I'm actually going to change this right here to 90. All right. And then some of you may even need to check your scratch disk, because some of y'all go ahead and do this too. So let's customer happiness. Can you put this on the working document? Check your scratch disk. If your scratch disk has less than 500, or I've even seen people, because this is gigabytes. So this basically means I have about a terabyte of scratch disk space. That's really good. Some of y'all are working with like 250 gigabytes right here. And Facebook is eating, I mean, not Facebook, I'm sure Facebook is one of those culprits too. Facebook or Chrome being open at the same time. You want to close down Chrome, close down Facebook. Do not let them be running at the same time that you're doing Zoom and Photoshop. But anyhow, if you have like 250 gigabytes, that means like Photoshop is probably barely able to really push. So a high performance computer could really help you out in that respect. Some of y'all are working with megabytes. If you see MB right there instead of GB, then that's going to be a real big problem for you. Okay, so I'm good here. I'll go ahead and hit OK. All right, so now I can go ahead and change out my foreground image here, which is just right here. Drag and drop. I'm going to get rid of the layer before. Now you can do Control S or File Save before you close it out to be safe, because sometimes if you close it out and then try to save, that could be risky. And now you see my foreground and background is updated to the ice cream theme here. And we are ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and close this down, hit yes to save, and watch it update here. Now we are no longer Jet Set, we are Ice Cream Parlor. Okay, so same thing here. Now it should go faster because we've cleaned up some of the Photoshop issues. Now we update our modified content. Then once we open it up, we may have to update our modified content once more. And now we have the proper image setup. So now you should be seeing how quickly we should be able to mock up one person's thing. So we did one design. Okay, we could have just sent that one all over shirt to the customer. We'd be done by now, right? Let's see, even with my computer live streaming right now, it's 4:57. How much more time it would take to mock up the other items here. Let's do a timer. So that's what we're here for today. I'm going to go ahead and click on my bag here. Go ahead and double click on the image. Then we're going to update our modified content. And this one may take a little bit of time because it has the smart colors in it so that it can change the color of the bag. Okay. Same thing here, go into it, update our modified content. And I want y'all to keep in mind that I also have these bleed areas and stuff on here. So, when you're designing, make sure that you're not designing all the way to the edge so you don't cut off anything important. But now that that's done, I can hit yes to save, close it down. All right, now I have a gift bag design. You see how important it is not to overthink the design part of it, but to over deliver to your customer. Okay, so I'm just going to work my way on down the party favors here instead of going on the artboard here. I'm going to start with my Capri Sun, update all modified content. All right, and the reason why I'm doing this now is because some people are already familiar with how to do this. So I want to make sure that I keep y'all up, and then the people that may need a little more like slow down version of this, then I will make sure that we stay with everybody. Okay. All right. So I just updated all modified content. And that one is now the ice cream parlor thing. And we're going to keep it moving right onto the cup. So the cup is something new. This is a 9-ounce cup, but you could have different cups that you offer. Let's update all modified content. Then we'll go into it. And once again, update all modified content. And just having only the foreground and background, y'all, we are cranking these things out. You may notice that, let's say, for instance, on this cup, oh, well, I feel like it's a little empty back here. Don't worry about that yet. You haven't gotten that part of the order yet. Just focus on making it clean and simple. And then when you get ready to deliver the full design, if they decide that they even want a cup, then you can worry about whether you want to do anything extra. But if they say nothing, then do nothing extra. Right? I feel like a lot of times, and I'm this way too, I'm one of those people that I am so over the top and so extra that I talk myself into extra work with no extra pay. All right. And I have recently gotten out of that because I just don't play that anymore. I realize how valuable my time is. I realize that every time I stick my neck out for somebody else, I am literally pulling resources away from my family and the things that we need, right? So when you start addressing things like that, update all modified content. When you start thinking of things in that way, you start to reevaluate how you charge and how much work you do for what you charge. All right, so this looks good. I'm going to bring that down just a little bit. Looks good. And y'all see, I didn't do anything fancy to that outside. I just left it colored. If you look at a lot of your bottled waters here, they don't have an image going all the way around the bottle. They have an image right here where you see it, and then they have the important information on the back. Sometimes we be doing too much. Okay. So I'm able to use that same foreground, that same background, and keep it moving. Okay. Everything that we're designing here, even the long stuff right now, is only foreground and background. That's it. And I guarantee you this customer will spend more than $30 with me. They originally thought they were just going to get a $30 shirt. I guarantee you they're going to spend more. Okay, I'm just updating the all modified contents here. Now this one also takes a little bit longer because it can custom color the parts of the chip bag here based on your theme colors. All right, so we aren't changing the theme colors up and stuff, but y'all know y'all can change the colors, you can change the text, you can change the image. All we're changing is foreground and background, and we are going to make some money today, okay? Because after this session today, we're going to know what to charge, how we should be charging, and we're going to actually put this up on the market. I don't know if y'all knew that, but today y'all will actually put this up on the market. All right, so let's go ahead and go into our gift bag. Oh, we already changed our gift bag out. Yep. change out the plate. And I have these are the same plates here. One's just laying flat and one's standing up, so it can be a better version of what they can see. So let's go ahead and change the plate here. Let's update our modified contents. Okay. Update our modified content. Now it's just updated. That's it. So we do the prep work. If you do the prep work, then we can follow up with this and it can be so simple. So simple. But it's not until like if you design your mock-ups and let's say you design a whole bunch of just randomness, right? Then they say, yeah, I want that. Now you got to go figure out how to backtrack and make those images look like you mocked them up because your mock-up was trash in the first place. Now you're doing the work in the back end. How can I design a quality design? And this is what you focus on. You focus on the quality and how you can use it. So I can use, if I design this right, just like I showed you how to design it on that master designer, then it could be a t-shirt, it could be a backdrop, it can be a banner, all of the above. And this is why we want to work smart and not hard. All right, so I think we have everything here on the table changed out. The only thing left are the large format stuff. Okay, so this one is going to take a little time there because these are larger. Now you have a floor wrap, and then you also have the banner backdrop. So, and this is where I wanted to get into this because some people like whatever is on the backdrop to be the same thing that's on the floor. Okay, so I'm going to update all modified content here. I'm going to show you a trick. I don't want y'all doing this right now, but you see how we already have a floor here? And this is where I'm going to show you can do something a little bit different. Okay, so I already have a floor here. I should have put this in my what is it called? I want to show y'all that, but I kind of don't because I know it's going to cause some issues, but I'm just giving y'all an example right now. Oh, you know what? I should have done just a sample of this. So I'm going to get a piece of this floor here. This is just me being extra, y'all. And then I'm going to kind of make that look like it's the floor. So when we do the floor wrap, and if I was using the Photoshop beta, I actually do a generative fill. So I'll bring the floor up, do a generative fill and let it fill in the rest of that floor wrap. And it will look like it's a continuation of that floor, even though maybe I didn't have that design before. So we're not going to get into that, but that is something fun for you all to think about when you extend this lesson further. All right. Now it should not have changed. Oh, I know what it is. My backdrop banner here. This is my floor wrap. Okay, so I'm just going to do the floor wrap here like that. So it should not change my banner, my backdrop. It should just change the floor wrap. See, I just changed the floor there. All right, cool. Now I'm going to change my backdrop here. And this one, I should have updated all modified content before I open it up. Okay, but if I update all modified content here, as long as I save it, it's going to update it on the other one, but you don't want to take that risk. Every time you open it up and you see that it has a need to update all modified content, you want to do that immediately. You don't want to wait like I just did. Okay, so letting that, see how it's saving much faster now? So maybe I needed to struggle a little bit to show y'all how to make your systems run better, because even my system was struggling. All right, y'all. Closing that out. Now that's my backdrop. And notice that the backdrop doesn't have to have the balloons on it. So those are all things that you're just mocking up to show what you can do. And then Kim's going to talk to y'all about like these balloons and stuff. She don't do her own balloons. She's going to tell y'all how you can learn to do them. She knows how to do them. But now that she's in the higher level, in the highest phase of her business, she doesn't actually do the balloons. She has a team that will come out and do the balloons for her, but she could still show that to her customers when she's mocking up a solution for them. All right. Now for this one, let's say for my arch trio, I'm going to go into this one. And I have this one is a pretty big file because it has the different backgrounds in here. So what I'm going to do, and like I said, as I'm cleaning this file up, y'all, this is not the final file. This is actually something I've been working on, wanting to change the Automizer and update it based on how I think you all can better design. So please understand that we're testing this out tonight, and then as soon as we work out our kinks, then this will be the way that the new 2.0 Automizer works. Okay, so I'm going to turn these off. All right, so let's say now maybe because we're doing the ice cream theme, maybe this middle one doesn't make sense anymore. Okay, so what I want to do is change that out. So instead of just changing it out completely, I'm going to do a pattern here. So you all have this pattern. Oh, you know what? I gave it to y'all. I gave y'all this pattern, but you have to open the master designer. We forgot to change our pattern now, but that's okay. We'll do it together. Okay, so our pattern here, we'll go into it. We'll change it back to our ice cream pattern here. And all I really want to do is grab this pattern. So I'm going to double click on it, come down here, and I'm going to hit this little new button so that it saves it. See, now it saved it into my patterns section. Because when you clear your Photoshop, sometimes it'll clear the patterns and things that you had in there as well. So I'm going to close that out now because all I wanted to do, I'm going to say no. Well, I guess I could. I'm going to update it. I'll update my pattern. And I didn't have y'all do this part because I wanted y'all to be real quick with just your foreground and background, but you could also change out your foreground accent to be the ice cream pattern. So now that you have it saved as a pattern, you can take this one right here and I would just duplicate it. Oh, never mind. I gave y'all the pattern right there. They're already saved up. Okay, so now I'll just switch it there. And then that way, if you wanted to have a little accent border or something, you have something on there. Just to give it a little pop if y'all want that. Like I said, we're sticking with the foreground, background, making it do what it do. If you want your background to have that embedded in it, you could, but then you end up with places where it doesn't make sense. So that's why I avoided putting that pattern on there for every product, for every background. All right, so now that I have that pattern saved, I'm going to come right here. We're going to do a pattern, and then we're going to choose our ice cream pattern here. And then the scale of it, because it's a really small file, maybe I'll do 50 or even 25%. Okay. And boom, I'm going to leave the other ones just as is because I think it looks cute. And just watch how we transform this space in a matter of minutes. That's it. That's everything. We literally took the same, maybe 10 minutes because I was fooling with changing out these patterns and stuff, but maybe 10 minutes to take it from a single shirt mock-up to mocking up all these different products. And we're going to talk about the pricing of those products. That's what we're doing in our workshop today. Our boot camp today, we're talking about the pricing. We're breaking down how you do this stuff. We're breaking down if you do it from scratch with what type of materials, how much it costs. So I don't want us to get caught up in just the Automizer. That's why I made the Automizer a little simpler. We're only changing foreground, background. I want us to focus on how we're going to be able to sell this. Okay. This is something that you are going to be able to step up your creative game. All right. So for my people that that told me that you're making around $200 to $1,000 a month, if that's where you're currently standing and you want to know how you can do something different to get to the next level, one of these parties can give you an extra $1,000 a month. One party can get you an extra $1,000 a month. Okay. And that's what we're going to talk about later on after we do the Automizer. So I want y'all to stay focused. Don't be up here doing this Automizer all night long. That's not the point. Okay. All right. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and close out of the YouTube, y'all, because I was just giving YouTube, I was giving y'all a preview of what we're doing inside of the party planning class. Now we're getting ready to get into our boot camp content. So I got to cut you off. But the replay will be available afterwards. If you want to see what all we did inside of the class, you know that it's valuable. I know that that you all are working very hard in your creative endeavors, but I want y'all to take it next level. Okay. All right. So for those on YouTube, now y'all stay with me in the Zoom room. I'm gonna give them the bye, all right? But y'all stay with me. I appreciate you and I love you dearly. And until next time, bye.